a'mal, your actions, they are presented in the court of Allah. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that I want to be in the state of fasting when my a'mal are presented to Allah. That is the reason why I fast in the month of Shaban. So this is why we should fast in the month of Shaban, because it is in this month when our a'mal are presented in the court of Allah. We are sinful people. We have a'mal. Perhaps in our a'mal there is the sin of backbiting, the sin of jealousy, the sin of lying, and all of these other sins. Now imagine how shameful it will be when our a'mal are presented in the court of Allah and there is sins there. So that's why in this month, in particular, the ulama mentioned that in this month there is a call in the skies. Someone makes a call in the skies, an announcement. What is that announcement? They say that whoever wants to be forgiven, come, Allah will forgive you. And whoever makes tawbah, come, make tawbah, Allah will accept your tawbah. And whatever you ask for, come and ask for, Allah will give you that. In the month of Shaban in particular, exclusively, this is where the doors of Allah's mercy are open for you. In another hadith, Sayyidah Aisha Siddiqa, she says that there are 4 nights which are the most beloved to Allah. Out of all the nights, there are 4 nights which are the most beloved to Allah. The first night, the night before Eid, the big Eid. So the night before the big Eid, this is the night, one of the nights in which the doors of the mercy of Allah opened. And in the second night, the night before Eid al-Fitr. In that night, we see what we call Chandrat. We see on that night, billah, people in the streets, in the pubs, in the clubs, Muslims who claim to accept Islam, who claim to believe in the oneness of Allah. These people, they are in the streets, billah, committing sins on this night. Look at what night it is, the night in which the doors of the mercy of Allah open. So that's why, even in particular on this night, the doors of the mercy of Allah open. And the third night, the 15th of Shaban, the night which we are slowly, din by din, we are approaching that night. That is the night in which the doors of the mercy of Allah open. And the last night, the night of Arafat. On this night, the doors of the mercy of Allah open. These are 4 nights in which the doors of the mercy of Allah open. Now remember, this is that night the Prophet ﷺ said that on the 15th of Shaban, Allah forgives people equivalent to the hairs of the goats of Banu Kalb. This is a tribe in Arabia. And the scholars mention that this tribe, it had the most goats. There's different tribes. For example, Banu Hashim, there's Banu Taym, there's Quraysh. Like this, there's different tribes. There's one tribe which is called Banu Kalb. There's many companions from that tribe who accepted Islam. In that tribe, they were known to have the most goats. So Allah forgives people equivalent to the hairs on them goats. Millions of people. Can you count the hairs on your head? Can anyone do this? If I say to you, sit there and count the hairs on your head, who will be able to count it? It's near to impossible, Who will have the time? And if you cannot count the hairs on your head, then will you be able to count the hairs of goats? That's impossible. There's so many goats. Then will you be able to count the hairs of the goats of Banu Kalb? It's impossible. That's how many people are forgiven on the night of 15th. So many people that we can't even count them. This is the forgiveness of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and that's why slowly death is approaching us. That's why Allah Jalla wa Ala gives us these different. किसी ने कहा था that we live in this world for such a long time. 100 बरस का सामान पल की खबर नहीं. I forgot the ashar before that. But the world which we live in, we prepare, we make a lot of preparation, but we don't even know if we're going to live the next moment, There were so many people who came before us. Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, he mentions in Bunyat al-Talibin, he says that there are graves which have been built, and the people who will be buried in them graves, they don't even know that this is our grave. If you go to the graveyard, if you go to the Qabristan, do you not see plots of land which are empty? There is going to be someone who's buried there, but does the person who knows that I'm going to be buried there, does he know that I'm going to be buried there? In the same way, Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani says that we see people walking in the bazaars and in the streets, and the shrouds in which they will be buried in, they are already unpacked for them. Someone will come very soon from their family and purchase that, but they don't even know that this is our shroud. Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, Ghaus Pak mentions that there are people walking in the streets building large, massive houses, and they say, inshallah, soon our houses will be constructed, but they don't even know that this is the house which they are constructing. They won't even live in this house because they don't have time for that. They don't have moment for that. So that's why we can't waste our time. We don't have enough time to waste. हम वक्त हो तो फिर हम ज़या करें, वक्त तो हमारे पास है ही नहीं, तो हम फिर कैसे ज़या कर सकते हैं? इसलिए that's why we say to you, we don't have time. You know, Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, he also mentions that Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq says that where are them people, the beautiful faces one? Where are them people who we would look at and they would have so much beauty on their faces? Where are them people? Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani says that, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq says that, where are them people who they would show proud on their youth. They would become prideful of their youth. They would say, I have a black beard, I have black hair, I'm able to walk, I'm able to talk, I'm able to do this. Where are them people? Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq says, where are them people? Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq says, where are them kings? Where are them badshahs who would build cities, and then in them cities they would build forts? Where are them people? We can't see them. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, he himself gives the reply to this. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq says, I will tell you where they are. They are in the darkness of their grave, lying there. And that's what will happen to every single person. It doesn't matter how big you become. It doesn't matter how famous you become. It doesn't matter how much people know you. That doesn't matter. In the end, you will die as well. You will have to die as well. That's why, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the greatest person, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Aqidah of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah regarding the passing of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that we believe Rasulullah passed away, but as soon as the soul of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was taken, Imam Badruddin Aini mentioned this, Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani mentioned this, Imam Mullah Al-Qari mentioned this, the ulama, they mentioned when the soul of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was taken out, the soul was put back into the body. No alim will say to you, Rasulullah didn't taste death. So this death, it's something which Allah has written for us. So these are the moments, these months, that's why Allah has given us these months in order to prepare for our death. The scholars mention that on the 15th of Shaban, if you worship Allah, then there are some people who used to worship Allah on the 15th of Shaban and they were free from the fire of hell. Mujaddid Umar bin Abdul Aziz, the first ever reviver of Islam, he was worshipping Allah on the 15th of Shaban. When he was worshipping Allah, he was reading his salah, he was doing his ibadat. What happened? He seen a green paper. He picked the paper up. What did they say in the paper? The scholars mentioned that paper, there was a light coming out of the paper. And that light, it was going right into the sky. Sayyidina Mujaddid Umar bin Abdul Aziz, when he picked the paper up, when he opened the paper, it said, Oh Umar, you have been freed from the fire of hell. To the 15th of Shaban. So that's why worship Allah, especially on the 15th of Shaban. Sayyidina Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that on the 15th of Shaban, Sayyidina Jibreel came to me. This is a very authentic hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that Sayyidina Jibreel came to me. And he said to me that, Oh Muhammad, this is the 15th of Shaban, and this is the night in which people who will pass away, their names will be written, predestined, their death will be predestined. Remember, we believe, a lot of people slip up on this part. We believe that it's already written, but we believe in the concept, it's copied and pasted on the 15th of Shaban. We don't believe it's completely written again. No, we believe it's already been written, and then on the 15th of Shaban, it's copied and pasted, and then what will happen the next year, that will happen, that will be decided. It's already decided, it will be copied and pasted. So Sayyidah Aisha says that how much rizq a person will receive in the following year, that's written on the 15th of Shaban. Sayyidah Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she says that Rasulullah said that whoever will go on to Hajj the following year, that is written on the 15th of Shaban. So all of these things, can someone sat here guarantee to me, they know whether their names is there or not? Can someone have that guarantee? It's impossible. No one can say to me, brother, I know for a fact that my name is not amongst them people. No one can guarantee this. So that's why it's important for us to prepare for death. Sayyidina Usman Ghani, he was a companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was from them companions. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Usman fil Jannah. There's a very famous hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned 10 companions together. And he said that these 10 companions, they will be in Jannah, they will be in paradise. Amongst them is Sayyidina Usman Ghani. Sayyidina Usman, Sayyidina Usman, he was a companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was guaranteed Jannah, but still when he would talk about death, he would cry. When he would talk about the grave, he would cry. And then this mentioned in Mishkat, the companions asked that, oh Usman, when you talk about the grave, why do you cry so much? When you talk about the hereafter, you don't cry. When you talk about the fire of hell, you don't cry. But when it comes to the grave, you cry. Why do you cry so much? The scholars mention that he would cry so much when he would talk about the grave that his beard, it would become full of his tears. It would become soaky. So they asked him, he said, the reason why I cry when it comes to the grave is because the grave is the first part of the hereafter. It's the first juz, the first part. And he says that if a person is successful in his grave, then consider him to be successful in what will come after. But if a person is unsuccessful in his grave, if he is unable to answer the questions of the grave, then he should remember what will follow will be very, very severe for him. It will be very, very hard for him. So that's why the grave, it's important for us to remember the grave. It's important for us. Sayyidina Usman Ghani, you know, if you look in the world, you probably have exams. You probably have a driving test, probably have your school exams, probably have your A-levels, university exams. You know, these exams, we know when they're going to be. You know the date in which your examination will take place. You know the place in which it will take place. And even you know that even if I don't pass this exam, then it doesn't matter, I will be able to do it again. I will have a second chance. The scholars mentioned the exam of the grave is not like that. It's not like that. Why? Because the exam of the grave, firstly, you don't even know when it is. With the exams of the dunya, you know when they are, the date is there, it's written, you prepare for them. Whereas the exam of the grave, firstly, you don't even know when it is. Secondly, if you fail it, you won't get a second chance. If you fail it, then what will happen? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that when the angels come and a person is unable to answer and he says that I don't know who my Lord is, I don't know what my religion is, I don't know who this man is. In the riwayat of Sahih Muslim, it's mentioned when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will come into the grave, there will be some people, they will say that I used to say about him what my forefathers used to say. So you know when a person gives these answers, you know what will happen to him? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that firstly, his grave will be tightened. When his grave will be tightened, then what will happen after that? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that his grave, it will become a pit from the pits of hell. This is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are not aware. We don't know when we are going to die. And we know that this exam, if we fail it, then this will happen. So then why are we wasting our time? Why are we in heedlessness? Why do we waste our time? Sayyidina Umar bin Abdul Aziz, the Mujaddid, I mentioned his name before. He went to a grave once. Sayyidina Mujaddid Umar bin Abdul Aziz, when he went to the grave, some of his companions, they seen him. When he was at the grave, he was pondering. He was thinking to something about himself. So they asked him that, why are you pondering? What do you need to ponder about? He said that I was talking to the grave. The grave spoke to me. They asked him that, what did the grave say to you? He said that the grave said to me that, oh Umar, no one asks me how I treat the people who come into me. No one asks me how the people, when they are entering into me, what I do with them. So then Umar bin Abdul Aziz said that, why don't you tell me? What do you do? The grave said that, oh Umar, the first thing which I do is that I rip their shroud up. That shroud in which they are buried in, the very first thing which I do is that I rip it up. Oh Umar, what else do you do? The grave said that the second thing which I do is that his flesh, his meat, I rip that up, I eat it up, I take it away, and there is nothing left of his meat. Then Umar bin Abdul Aziz asked that, what do you do after that? The grave said that after that, his joints of the body, the joints of his body, I rip them up, I dislocate them. His arms from his shoulders, his legs from his body, they are all dislocated. I eat them joints up. Sayyidina Umar bin Abdul Aziz, he looked at the people and he began crying. He said, oh people, you are in heedlessness. You are living heedlessly. Do you not know that we're going to die? The grave is telling me. The grave itself is telling me what it will do to you. So then if we know what will happen to us, how can we waste our time in this world? So that's why I would want to finish on one hadith which is mentioned in the Jami of Imam al-Tirmidhi. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Sayyidina Abu Hurairah narrates this, he says that when a person passes away, then when the angels and when the people in the grave, the snakes, the scorpions, when all of these things want to attack that person, then there be a shield for him on his right, on his left, by his head, by his feet. Everywhere there is a shield. The scholars say that the shield, what is the shield? Sayyidina Abu Hurairah says One of them is his namaz. The second one is his fasting. The third one is his zakat. The fourth one is his sadaqah and him being good to people. Brothers, this is the thing which we need to take with us. This is what will protect us in our grave. It will be our salah which will protect us. When the punishment, the scholars mentioned, the hadith mentioned that when the punishment will come, the salah will say, leave him alone. He used to offer me the dunya. When the punishment will come from the other side, the zakat will say, back off, leave him alone. He used to give me in the dunya. He used to offer his zakat in the dunya. When the punishment will go from this side, then the sadaqah and his nawafil and him being good to people will say that, oh, leave him alone. He used to be good with that person. That person was in need and he used to help him. That person asked him for something and he would give it to him. This person, he would give voluntary sadaqah. And then when the punishment will come from the other side, his fasting will stand up like a shield. And his fasting will say that, leave him alone. He used to fast in the dunya. So that's why these are the shields which will protect us in the dunya. You know, we can make our houses nice. We can do whatever we want. You can install the best of CCTV cameras. You can make the protection of this. But I say to you, I have one question for you. If you can protect your house, if you can buy insurance for your house, if you can do all of these things, then do you not have a right that you protect your life, that you protect your hereafter? Do you not have a right that you protect yourself in the grave and you have these protectors with you? That's why the month of Ramadan is coming. Prepare yourself for that month by fasting, by doing all of these things, and make these things your protectors in the grave. And if you will do this, then according to this narration of Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, then these things will protect you from the punishment of the grave. And remember, one thing in particular, build your connection with the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said that there is a surah within the Quran. There is one surah within the Quran, and if a person begins to recite that a lot, then that will protect him from the punishment of the grave. The Sahaba asked that, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is that surah? The Prophet said that it is Surah Al-Mulk. It is that surah which will protect him from the punishment of the grave. So every single day, the scholars say from Maghrib, from the time when Maghrib starts, all the way to Fajr, make an effort of reciting this surah. It's not a long surah. This will protect you from the calamities of the grave. And I mentioned to you, worry about your grave. People are passing away. Suddenly they are passing away. We don't even know whether we will be next or not. We don't even know whether our shroud, whether our grave has been dug for us, or not. We don't have that guarantee. That's why I make dua that Allah Ta'ala gives us the ability to prepare for our death and to truly value this month of Shaban, and remember that this is the month of the Prophet ﷺ, and he would fast in this month. And Rasulullah ﷺ, he would fast so much, and then he would say that, I want my God, my Allah to see that when my a'mal are presented to him, that I'm in the state of fasting. So make a habit of fasting in this month and continue to fast. And then when the month of Ramadan will come, because you know, if for example in a boxing match, there's 12 rounds. You know, if a person is weak in the 11 rounds, how do you expect him to be strong in the 12th round? It's impossible. He might not even make it to the 12th round. So that's why make yourself strong. You only have one more round. This is our last round. Then the month of Ramadan will come. Make dua that Allah Ta'ala. You know, another example the Sufia give is that, you know, if you have a glass of water or you have a glass of tea and you put a spoon in it, and you keep turning it, and even if you take the spoon out, what will happen? It will still it still will continue to spin. Why? Even though the spoon is not in there, it will continue. Why? Because it has been rounded, it has been spin. The spoon has been, made to go around it for such a long time. In the same way, shaitan may not be with us in the month of Ramadan. Why do you continuously do sins in the month of Ramadan? The reason for this is like how the spoon has been taken out, shaitan has been taken out, but the effect the shaitan has left is still there. Like how the effect of the spoon is still there. I make dua that Allah Ta'ala gives us the ability to truly fight against shaitan and to have these protectors, the Quran, zakat, fasting, sadaqah, and being good to people, because these are the things which will protect us, and then building your connection with the Quran. Wala akhiru da'waya alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Sallu ala al-habib.